In the previous video, we revised the bank stations. We moved the bank stations closer to the transition zone between the channel and the overbank. In this particular video, we are going to be looking at ineffective flow areas and how we can define that in the HECRAS editor. But we want to talk about the ineffective areas briefly. So what are ineffective areas? They are areas within the channels, mostly outside the channel. They are areas within the floodplain, but mostly outside the channel that we want to define as dead area. So these are areas where we don't want the flows from those areas to contribute to the main flow in the channel. And when we are trying to model the bridge or culvert, we want to be able to block off those areas or kind of make them ineffective. That way they don't uh, make that contribution. And ineffective can be temporal, it can be permanent, depending on the stations and the elevations we've used. In the diagram here, we can see that within this floodplain, the modeler has decided to make sure that flows from these other areas of the floodplain does not make contribution to the main channel. As we can see, this is a flow direction going this way from uh, moving this direction from west to east. And we can also see the ineffective areas that the model have blocked off. So these areas are ineffective. These areas are ineffective. The modeler don't want to make that contribution. And we also have ineffective uh, areas definitions around covert openings. So for example, when approaching the culvert or the bridge, we have areas that could have ponded water, and this water could make contribution to the culvert or bridge opening. So with ineffective flow tool, we can block off those areas and make the areas ineffective zones and non-contributory to the bridge opening. So we have another good example here. Then we see how it's been defined. So this is a good material that you can look at that talk about the ineffective and how to model ineffective flow areas. So they call it as uh, areas or portions of the channels are cross sections where water is present but not actively being conveyed. So essentially, it is dead space within the channel. So we call them. It can be a ponded location, a ponded space, but those areas do not contribute to the. We don't want to make the water contribute to the main channel. So this is a common occurrence at channel sections in close proximity to bridge and cover sections with large embankments and constriction, as well as channel sections with bridge over bank areas. So that is the idea. Um, when water tend to move smooth and rather than sudden change. So it's essential to eliminate any abruptness in this situation. So what basically we are saying is when we assess certain areas where the water flow could potentially um, pond and causing slow, sluggish, or kind of non-contributory. So we don't want to account for those energy loss. So it's better we make those areas ineffective. To do that in the HECRAS, we can open the software and see how to define that. It's usually always good to target cross sections within the covered area. We've defined we want to put the first covert here between cross section 1396 and between section and 1186. So the first covert is going to be here and the second covert will be here. So we want to look at this ineffective, look at these areas and see how we can block them. So we're going to look at this cross section and see how to. So this cross section have depression here. So we'll probably want to block off. See, this is areas. So if we pull up the, you can see that cross section. So this is a cross section. and maybe this area as well. This area cross section. So we could have a depression, a water pond in here, and that can cause the concern. So we may want to block off this area outside the bank. So let's inspect the cross sections again. And look at the area cross sections. Yes, this is a good example. So we can, yeah, this is the question at the bottom. So we may want to block off these areas, make them ineffective. So what we can do is we need to know the station. So we pick the station just outside the bank line. So we'll hit options, we'll select ineffective flow, and we can enter it to the left. So we're going to see station is 93.8, 1115.63. Apply. We want to raise. We can move further and do the same here. I'm going to use this section. So we hit option ineffective. Hit the 69. Apply data. So these areas are now ineffective, and you can see this hash. So let's go to the next one. We also want to place it here. I'm going to say option ineffective is 60. To 7. Apply data. Left one. Put it here. Option 56.6. 1.66. That is fine. The rest of the channel, they are fine. If we want to see the effect of this, we can raise this to this elevation. And six. Put that up. And we can save that geometry. We can hit save, run, steady flow, and we can so we have water in the channel here, but they're not going to contribute to the main flow when we want to use them to do the hydraulics, especially if we set ineffective here. So with this, we can go ahead now and By the time we insert the culvert, we can inspect and see if there need to be an adjustment and for the ineffective flow area. And with that, we can be able um, to inspect and make adjustments, especially for cross sections that are um, within close to the bridge opening at the time. So I will see you in the next uh, video where we'll talk about how to insert the bridge. And yeah, so now go ahead and save your file, and we'll catch up in the next video.